That's right. Back at it again. Full custom hot dog, baby. And we're doing another Blu-ray review. I know, you can't believe it. Well, you probably can't believe it because it's been a while. We're going to be talking about the 1987 classic Hard Ticket to Hawaii, directed by the one and only Andy Sidaris. If you don't know about Andy, we're going to talk about him a little bit later. We're talking about it because Mill Creek looks like they're releasing every single Andy Sidaris movie. So if you don't know much about, well, not every movie, but every one in the Triple B series, if you don't know what that means, it stands for either Bullets, Bombs, and Babes, or Bullets, Bombs, and Boobs. All of which sum up Andy Sidaris films. And that's at least from what I hear. I've seen 2 or 3 of them, I believe. And so far, this is my favorite because this is the most ridiculous. This is the one that I can easily recommend to any fan of like 80s schlock action. The other ones, at least from my knowledge, seem to be a little bit more softcore, more nudity action based. While this one has just that over-the-top action that I love. One thing that's really neat in this video, this is the first video where I've done all of my own thumbnails. That's right, every picture you see was painfully, artisanally crafted by Full Custom Hot Dog himself, carefully and painfully curated. So I selected all of these pictures, which is great. I used an app, I forget what it's called. I might do a video about it in case you also have for all 2 of you with a Blu-ray drive in your computer that want to watch Blu-rays. It's called Iawo. It's a little wonky, but it does the job, sort of. I had issues trying to watch the commentary on my computer, so I had to watch that on my actual Blu-ray player. But anyways, enough about that. We can talk about that some other time. We're talking about the Mill Creek release of Hard Ticket to Hawaii. This dropped with Malibu Express, which I didn't know that there was a... They're all sort of loosely linked, but not really. I guess in the way of maybe like James Bond or something, where different characters will kind of return and then may not be in the same part the next one. So this is his second movie. Malibu Express looks to be his first one in this series. Andy Sidaris has had quite a career in cinema and in TV history, which we'll try to talk about later. So, what do you expect with Mill Creek if you watch any of my episodes? And why do I continuously buy Mill Creek? Mill Creek usually makes some pretty inexpensive stuff, though lately I've seen a couple releases from them that were normal price pricey. These were 10 a piece, I think, which I feel is pretty reasonable considering these are kind of cult classics, and at least this one, I don't know about the other ones. This one has a 4K scan, I guess, from a widescreen. Let me see. From a 4K scan, from a 4K widescreen restoration. So it looks pretty solid, much better than I expected. It seems there's some complaints about the audio. But to me, the audio is about what I would expect in a movie like this, so I didn't think it was bad. I give movies like this some kind of leeway when the audio isn't crystal clear because, I mean, they're B movies, triple B movies even. So I can't really hold them to the same rigorous standards we might have for other people. But it's also Mill Creek, so I don't picture them doing a full audio and video restoration and release a budget price disc. That's just not going to happen. What do we got for extras? We've got an introduction with Andy Sidaris. We've got a commentary with Andy Sidaris and his wife, who also helps produce a lot of these, I believe. Yeah. And then you've got a behind-the-scenes featurette and trailers. You got trailers for everything. Trailers for every production from, who is this house that released it? Malibu Bay Films, which was, I believe, Andy's production house, I'm guessing, because it seemed like all of his movies are on that label. So my only complaint about these features is that the behind-the-scenes featurette, and I don't know because this is the first one that we're watching here in this series, it looks to be generic, and I would guess this is on every disc. I do not know that for a fact, as I have yet to go into the other films and look at those featurettes, but this behind-the-scenes featurette has nothing to do with this movie. So, take that as it may. I guess we'll learn in the next one. I tried to look around to see if anybody had any info about that, but I didn't see anything offhand. So, all in all, I think this is a B release, a B minus even. You can't really complain that there's no up-to-date special features, considering Andy Sidaris sort of passed a few years ago. He passed in 2007, so a lot of the stuff with him on it are, of course, when it was on one of its earlier DVD releases. And it would have been kind of cool to maybe have like a retrospective of him with his friends and family. I think would be cool. But, you know, I don't know how Mill Creek does their stuff. I don't know if they've done a lot of production for their own special features. So maybe that's just not in the cards for them. Maybe that's not something they do. But that's something I would have liked to have seen. But yeah, so definitely, I don't know if that's a good idea. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But let's get to talking about Hard Ticket to Hawaii, which is an awesome 80s action flick. And I think it's sort of notorious for a few scenes that kind of became memes. But before we get into that, let's talk about what this is about. And it's kind of ridiculous. I think I saw this for the first time maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And I kind of didn't remember it all too well. I remembered a couple key parts. And so according to IMDb, it's which states, in Molokai, 2 undercover drug enforcement agents are after a vicious drug kingpin. But on the way, they'll have to deal with a contaminated giant python. So you get kind of a really weird crossover of genre here, and I think that's why I like this movie so much and why I can recommend it to people. I had talked about this movie with a friend earlier, and he was kind of like, oh, it doesn't seem like something I'd be into. And then I was kind of like, well, it's sort of, it's probably not what you're thinking. It's probably closer to something like Samurai Cop, Raw Force-ish, not as wild as those. Well, maybe closer to Samurai Cop than Raw Force, which if you haven't seen either, I highly recommend those. Have a ridiculous 80s action night. Throw this in the mix. Do it up, fam. Yeah, just because it's cheesy. All the acting is cheesy. In this movie's, most of its cast, at least the female parts, have all been Playboy Playmates. That's something that Andy Sidaris was kind of infamous for, was casting Playboy Playmates. I mean, hence the triple B thing, you know, the boobs, bombs, bullets, babes, brunch, all the stuff that he's famous for. So you've got these 2 women who are sort of, you know, they're delivering this package. They mix up the wrong snake, or the wrong snake gets mixed up, and then it's a contaminated mutant snake which has cancer from rats and is just toxic and also very, very mean. A very mean snake. And then that gets mixed up with this plot of diamonds, and you've got drugs and then shootouts. There's 2 scenes that I absolutely love that I think put this heads above what I've seen from his other movies. Granted, I did enjoy his other movies in terms of just goofiness, silliness, but there's the killer frisbee scene, which you'll see a picture of it in the slideshow, which I thought was awesome. And I frickin' love it because I just love over-the-top stuff like that in my movies, of course. And then there's a scene where this guy's attacking them on a skateboard while holding a rubber doll and a gun behind it. I don't know if he's using a rubber doll, an inflatable doll, like a sex doll. And I don't know if that's a distraction or it's supposed to cover up his gun. It can't be a shield, but he's doing all this on a skateboard, and a rocket launcher becomes involved, and it's just awesome. And you get the killer snake involved, and there's these shootouts, and it's just this weird mashup of a few different wild things that makes a really fun time. And I've seen some of his other stuff, like I mentioned. I saw Savage Beach. I feel like I saw 1 or 2 more in there. I think Savage Beach is coming on the next drop of releases from Mill Creek. And that one was pretty fun, but definitely not in this way. Not in this way of this just over-the-top sheer ridiculousness. And that's why I think this movie deserves a little bit more credit than just... it's easy to shy away from something like this, I think. Just because of the notoriety that comes with this. But I think that can be very easily disregarded because of the Frisbee scene. And that's my favorite. So anyways, Andy Sidaris is an interesting cat, like I mentioned. He was kind of a pioneer, or considered to be a pioneer of sports television. So before he was doing these cheesy movies, he did coverage of tons of football and basketball games, Olympics, tons of special stuff. He won 7 Emmys for his work in sports broadcasting. Was the first director of ABC's kind of classic Wide World of Sports. Did that for a long time. And he even pioneered what he called the honey shot. And I'm not making that up. And that's close-ups of cheerleaders and pretty girls in the stands, according to Wikipedia. So kind of interesting foreshadowing on what would become a film series of honey shots. So pretty interesting stuff. I noted that they were called the Triple B series later, and I think it was much later. Again, I'm not a Sidaris historian. I'm not a huge Sidaris fan. I do enjoy his stuff, but didn't really get into what I've seen until recently. But later they were given the title Lethal Ladies. And so far what I've seen, they're fun. They're all similar and kind of different, I guess. But I'm definitely going to be picking up every movie in this series because I think having a Sidaris collection is rad. So, anyways, I think that's enough talking about this flick. I can easily highly recommend that anybody should see this movie because it's just such a blast and so ridiculous. And if you want that 80s cheese, I don't think there's a better place to go than Hard Ticket to Hawaii. So, thank you for watching as always. Full custom hot dog, that's right, baby. Also, one thing that's weird to note, IMDb considers this an action crime sci-fi film, which I never would have suspected. Very bizarre, but yes, I digress. Full custom hot dog. I plan on doing a shelfie in some time, and I say in some time because I am cataloging my whole collection in this app. I don't know if you saw my video yesterday or the other day. This app where I scan every movie into the freaking system. Huge pain, but it's really cool. So eventually I'll do a shelfie video and show you guys what I have of my collection. I am proud of it. It may not be the biggest collection, but it's mine, damn it. So anyways, thank you for watching Full Custom Hot Dog. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I've been much more active on Twitter lately. It's Full Custom Hot Dog without the last O because it's just too long for Twitter. And by more active on Twitter, I mean I post sometimes more than never. So anyways, thank you for watching, and until next time.